Anyway, I toiled away in the workshop, and I don't know how long it took me. I sort of record my times, but I'm not very good at it. But eventually, I remember the night I did the final coat of oil, and I stood back and looked at it, and I just got this tingle up the back of my neck, and I thought, wow, this has turned out really, really nice. You know, it was one of those little moments where it all came together, and it was really, it was an amazing feeling to have created something that I felt had turned out very nicely. And interestingly, later that year, I was encouraged to enter it in the National Furniture of the Year Awards. One of my friends in the industry said that we should. I was a bit reluctant, but anyway, we put it in. And I remember getting a phone call from one of the judges one day who I knew, and he said, I've got a question for you, Gary. We're up in York, because I was down here at the time, and we're just judging your piece, and I need to know, you know, can you make these? Could you make more of these? And I said, yeah, of course. How many do you want? You know, because he had all the judges, and of course they're furniture people from all over Australia. And I thought, oh, someone wants a big order of Chaises, but as it turned out, they didn't. But I said, yeah, of course I could replicate it. I've got all the patterns. We could make as many as you need. You know, obviously we'd have to gear up and what have you. But the question was, I found out later, was about one of the judges was saying, well, we just make one-ofs, you know, so this is a National Furniture Award. It's important that these aren't just one-ofs, but they can be replicated. So lucky I gave the correct answer. So the story behind it is it's called Sue's Chaise, all about a lovely woman named Sue, a bit like that song. And she approached me asking for what I thought was a Chaise lounge, because I didn't really know how to pronounce it, but she wanted me to design. We'd made quite a bit of furniture for her and her husband, Bill, and she wanted this piece of furniture for her bedroom. And my initial reaction was, oh, I don't really do lounge furniture. It's not something that I do. We haven't done it before, and you know, perhaps you're better off going to a lounge maker. And she persisted. Her thing was, Sue really loved our rocking chair and our returning images mirror and the lovely fluid lines that they had in them. And she just wanted me to create a piece for a bedroom for this particular spot, a chaise longue, as it's called correctly, that would reflect those lines and, you know, become a nice part of their bedroom furniture. So we went back and forward, did quite a few different designs, and we came up with something that looked a bit like this. Again, one of my rough, pretty crappy hand sketches, which I do. I'm not that good a drawer, but yeah, it kind of has those sweeping lines of the rocker. You know, it's got this line through here. It's all really soft and flowing. You know, the way this flows back down this little leg. I played with a few different ideas there, but we came up with that little flowing leg. So anyway, we embarked on this process, and I'd actually just moved into our new home in Margaret River, and I had a studio under the house where I was working at the time. So this was the first piece that I designed and made in that new studio. And it was quite a process of making it, because obviously down here there's this little three-way miter, which is quite tricky to do. Originally all mortise and tenon, now I use a different system, but just as strong. It's effectively a mortise and tenon. So it's a three-way, so it's even to clamp it up, you've got to get all three clicking together at once, but once it's together, it just locks, it's really strong. So it was a nice way of connecting those three lines. So now it's time to make up the upholstery frame. So these are my samples that I made up years ago to give us something to work off, so I could remember how to make them. These are sitting there like that. Now, roughly, it's a bit tricky, this bit. I've got to get it just right, otherwise the upholstery just won't go together properly. So it's going to ultimately sit together a bit like that. Looks like it's all pretty square and looking good. This is the time to find out exactly where it all is. Looks good. Yeah, looks like it's going to work. It's a lot more finish sanding to go with these, but I don't want to get too carried away, finish sanding too early, because I'm going to bang them around a bit yet. I was in Margaret River, and one of my friends in the industry again rang and said, look, you need to be at the awards. You might be in for an award. So I went, oh, I better turn up. So we went to this big awards night at Burswood, and I went there on my own. And sure enough, they get to the soft furnishing section, which for me was bizarre because we don't really make soft furnishing. And we took out the national award for soft furnishing with the Chaise. And of course, the lounge people were all pretty miffed because we're not really soft furnishing makers. We do dining tables and sideboards and rocking chairs and things like that. Chairs, but not necessarily lounging furniture. So that was a real cool, and I thought, wow, that's amazing. I'm glad I came to the awards night. And then as the evening went on, they have another award they call the best of the best over all categories. And that's, everything, dining, native hardwood, all types of furniture, new design, and they call it the best of the best. So it's really the award that everyone wants to win. And sure enough, they called out Sue Chaise. So that was quite an incredible moment, and odd that no one was there with me. Normally David would be there with me and Lara and Joe, but it was just one of those years we were all busy and no one else turned up. But to take out that award was really quite something. So to be judged by your peers on a national basis and to win that award, it was quite ironic. And again, the lounge makers couldn't believe that these guys that don't even make lounge furniture had won it with a piece, that was their category. But good old Sue, if she hadn't encouraged me to create this design, and I think that happens a lot with customers, they'll come to me and say, we want this or we want that. And often, I'm reluctant. I haven't done that before. It's not really our thing, but they push you and you want to do the right thing by the customer. So we go ahead and make these pieces of furniture, and 9 times out of 10, they really become an amazing piece of our collection, which of course this one has, very iconic, and it just has those nice lines of the rocker, and it really feels like a classic jar rock piece. So yeah, it was challenging to make, challenging to design, but well worth the process in the end. And I think that, I guess the big lesson for me out of all this was listen to what people want, listen to your customers. If they tell you they want something, there's a reason for it, and there's probably a fair chance that somebody else will want one too. And over the years, we've made a lot of these Chaises now, and they've gone all over the world like the rocking chair has, and that's a great lesson for us in business, is to listen to our customers.